Bang, bang, Southern Fried Gang. Time to do this thing. Like I said, bang, bang, Southern Fried Gang. That was a new one. I like it. Let's get started up in here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, it is JD Wyatt, the Southern Fried Gentleman of Southern Fried Sports. I do appreciate you guys being here with me. Absolutely. Listen, we're going to have a great talk as we always do. First of all, let me say this. Happy freaking holidays, people. Happy holidays to you and your family. Happy holidays to you and your mom. If you live in her basement and you post videos on the internet wearing your underwear like Nick Saban says, happy freaking holidays to every one of you who make the great social media world what it is. Happy holidays to you. And for all of us regular people out there too, happy holidays to you as well. Gamecock Chuck, happy holidays to you, Gamecock Chuck. Have you ever broadcasted from your mother's basement in your underwear? Hey, buddy. We got another Mark. We got Mark. What's up? Gamecock Chuck. Mark, hey, we're going to get into some Gamecock talk. As a matter of fact, Mark, I might have some Eagles talk coming for you. Oh, and then we've got Brian. He heard that Southern Fried Sports is going to coach the defense at Clemson. Well, I'll tell you what, buddy. Brian, I will let you take the defensive coordinator role. I'll coach the defensive backs or the linebackers. Man, I'll tell you what. I will take linebackers. I'll take Sammy Brown. And, man, I'll take him. I'll take them all. And I promise you, there's a whole story, y'all. We'll jump right into that. Brian, since you just mentioned it. So did y'all see that the whole fifth quarter Clemson, which I don't know if you guys know this or not, but there's like this whole little network of ACC people. They're called Fifth Quarter FSU, Fifth Quarter Clemson. And during the game against Texas, Fifth Quarter Clemson posted a racial slur. He said to fire this N-word. I don't know why he chose to use N-word because it was a white guy. But either way, several posts came out after the fact of him trying to condone his actions and all this stuff. But yeah, a lot of people are clamoring for the Clemson defensive coordinator to get fired. So we'll start that conversation off right here this evening, y'all. Did the College Football Playoff Committee get this thing right? And I'll tell you why they didn't right now. They didn't get it right because here's what I keep hearing. I'm so sick of hearing about Bama and Ole Miss. Bama and Ole Miss were the two teams that missed out on the playoffs. South Carolina didn't lose to Oklahoma or Kentucky or to Vanderbilt. They didn't lose to the bottom half of the SEC like Alabama and Ole Miss did. So that's my whole issue, though, with this college football playoff crap. Everybody wants to keep going back to freaking Bama and Ole Miss. And, you know, shout out Lee Corso. Shout out Kirk Herbstreit. Those guys, they've mentioned South Carolina. They did. But are you kidding me? We keep talking about Bama and Ole Miss. Like, no. The conversation should have always been South Carolina. Forget Bama and Ole Miss. They lost to two sub 500 teams or barely at 500 teams. Yes, South Carolina lost to Alabama. Yes, South Carolina lost to LSU. But guess what? both of those teams were potentially playoff bound. Oh, yeah, we lost to Ole Miss too. Oh, yeah, that team was playoff bound. Guess who we didn't lose to, though? Nobody who was bound for the playoffs. We didn't lose to anybody that was bound for the playoffs. Heck, we beat the ACC champion, Clemson, who went and got it handed to them by Texas. So just the conversation should have never been Bama and Ole Miss. The conversation was always the Gamecocks and Miami Hurricanes and SMU. And then, of course, if you want to throw Indiana in there, and then, of course, here we are now, though. Man, how about Ohio State? Hey, Southern Buckeye. Where you at, Southern Buckeye? Eric O'Brien, my Ohio State fan. Where you at, bro? I figure you be in here going all giddy right now on all of us SEC fans. Just like your defensive back was. Talking about we run the SEC. No, y'all won like 2 games against the SEC ever. But hey, credit to Ohio State for a great win against Tennessee. I'll give y'all that one. Tennessee tried to come take over that stadium. Tennessee tried to take over that stadium, and they were not able to do it. Not in a win, anyway. I mean, they took it over in quantity, maybe, compared to a visitor stadium. You know, they did pretty well there. Gamecock Chuck says, I'm 51. I don't think streaming was a thing when I was young. Hey, Gamecock Chuck, did you sit beside Jesus in the 3rd grade, bro? Y'all were, instead of writing notes, y'all were like etching them out in stone, maybe? Man, that must have took a minute. You can't be sneaky. Think about that, y'all. Hey, how about that for a question this evening on Southern Fried Sports? Think about trying to be sneaky in your 3rd grade class, trying to write the girl next to you or the guy next to you and be like, hey, man, you like me? Yes or no? Imagine etching that out in stone, as Gamecock Chuck admits this evening here on Southern Fried Sports. I need to see what you're writing there, Chuck, says the teacher. Man, that's funny stuff. Oh, my goodness. We are already off the rails here on Southern Fried Sports. We've got Brian. He jumped in early. Chuck, when I was young, I thought I was doing a tailgate show outside of my clubhouse. Hey, man, straight cred, though. I'll be honest with you. I was never doing a show outside my clubhouse. No, I was out there just trying to play football. I admitted this the other day on Southern Fried Sports. I was just straight out there, play action fake, and I would see if I could throw the ball high enough and long enough for myself to run out there and catch it. All right? So I played football by myself, y'all. That's what I'm saying. I love the game of football. What a great, funny conversation, though, to get into. Did the college football playoff get it right? Clemson and Texas, that was a great match, man. If Clemson had a run defense, they would have had something for Texas. I did forget to mention, though, I think GreenvilleSportsMedia.com, Hyundai of Anderson, Arden's Burger and Grill. They probably will not be open on Christmas, but Christmas is on a Wednesday. And if you know anything about Arden's Burger and Grill on a Wednesday, you get 10 wings and a side of fries and a sweet tea for $10.99. Absolutely cannot wait to go there for the first time. As a matter of fact, Jay Jacobs of Greenville Sports Media, he and I will be meeting up for Furman basketball and Wofford basketball January 11th. And he says that he will bring me a wing plate. So, I mean, listen, y'all. I'll let you know. We might even do like a sample on the show, man. Y'all ain't never seen me eat chicken wings. You might want to stick around for that particular evening. Pepsi Cola, Hyundai of Anderson, W Energy. Happy holidays to you all. Of course, we've got Monday Night Football going on right now. And here, let me go ahead and just admit my defeat right now. I come to you guys this evening to concede in my efforts in fantasy football as Rowdy Rooster will probably score more than 18 points with Josh Jacobs to beat me, the number 1 seed, to go to the championship. I don't even know what to do with myself anymore, y'all. Fantasy football's gone. Now I'm just going to have to root for the Panthers or maybe the Chargers. I don't know. As Mad Crafter. I see you over there, Mad Crafter. I'm coming to you in just a minute. Let me get back on track here, though, real quick. So, y'all, though, did the CFP get this thing right? I didn't get my playoffs for my fantasy team right. It's so hard being a coach. It's hard. It's hard to be a coach. It is. It is. It is. And so let me get here. I'll get a couple of comments in before we swap up topics here. Mark, he has less problems with the teams that we're in than he does with the seeding. How does Oregon, the number 1 seed, play Ohio State while Penn State gets Boise State? It's very accurate. You know, and they did say they weren't going to reseed once they got into the second round, but they should have. I mean, heck, we'll bring in Matt Crafter here in a minute. Listen, I was already mentioning South Carolina and Miami. Everybody wants to keep bringing up freaking Bama and Ole Miss, but the 2 teams that they missed out on, though, were South Carolina and Miami. So give me South Carolina over, I don't know, Tennessee. South Carolina's never lost to Ohio State before, y'all. I don't know. But then you got Ohio State people saying they run the SEC. And I know it's a small sample size. I get it. I understand that. But still, give me, I don't care. Give me somebody that's not going to go up there and do something stupid before the game. How about that? How about that? How about don't go up there and take your shirt off and warm up on the field like, oh, yeah, the cold don't bother us. Well, the cold did bother you, my friend. 42-10. I bet that belt to back felt bad in that cold weather. Man, I'm telling you what, if I'm getting stumped 42-10, shoot, you better get me to the locker room, bro. Either that or you better get me a couple extra jackets. You can see me right now. I'm wearing layers. I don't play with the cold. I don't mess with the cold. You would not catch me out there taunting somebody wearing no clothes. So for all of this college football playoff stuff, man, it's great stuff. It is. It is. It is. It is. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that the next round will be much better. Mark, he also says that he thinks teams like SMU cannot help their conference. They can only beat who is on their schedule. I mean, yes, that's correct. But even then, though, we could all agree Indiana didn't belong. But even then, we might even agree that Tennessee didn't belong. But who's to say, I guess, if you want to play devil's advocate, who's to say, I guess, if Miami went and played Ohio State, if they didn't get thumped the same way? Or if South Carolina went and did it, who's to say they wouldn't get thumped the same way? Or Ole Miss or Bama, the other 2 teams that seem to be mentioned more than anyone. And so, yeah, let me get Madcraft in here. Madcrafter, my man. Thank you for joining me this evening.
Hi. Hey, how y'all doing?
Good, good. Thank you for being here. So, first of all, what are you thinking about what we're talking about right now? Could Miami have done anything different than Tennessee did at Ohio State?
Absolutely. I don't know if you saw any of my Twitter interactions with Rob Brown.
Well, I've seen plenty of them.
No, okay.
And Rob Brown, he's got some good takes on it too.
Yeah, he does, but you're not gonna say.
I mean, yeah, you can't. Tennessee didn't beat anybody either. Tennessee had just as easy as a road that Texas did, but we saw what Texas did to Clemson. So, I mean.
Well, now Clemson played the best game out of any of the losers.
Oh, yeah, true. Other than that whole rush defense thing.
I mean, yeah, of course, because all Texas did was run the ball. That was smart. That was great. That was a great.
They were.
Clemson, I'll say this: if I was a Clemson Tigers fan, I'm feeling pretty darn good with how my team played that night. Now, yeah, we got ran all over, but you were expecting to get blown out. They played that a game. Every other game on the playoffs was a complete crapshoot, garbage. Not crapshoot. I'm sorry. It was just garbage.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, none of them were close. I mean, Clemson did, and they even had to make a little comeback to get within that range. But
Well,
to me, the most concerning thing was how big the holes were that Texas was running through on Clemson. Would you agree?
I would completely agree. The biggest thing was that their O-line was getting actually to the linebacker level so much easier. Like, it was so
never
fast.
a good thing. Yeah, never a good thing.
But at the same time, I will say, if you go back and look at the box score on how that game scored out, Clemson was never out of the game. Now, I'll tell you, for example, let's take 9-1. Notre Dame. Soon as that ball left that tee on kickoff, that game was over. We all knew it. That game was a minute was a wrap. The only reason why Indiana managed to win, or I'm sorry, lose by 10, was because they managed to miraculously score 2 touchdowns in the final 2 minutes of the game. All right, so that's a wash, right?
Garbage time.
SMU, holy crap! Pick six after pick six after pick six. You know, you can just never know what's going to happen in that regards. But I will say that's where I think home field advantage in the first rounds, that's where it showed up the most.
That's a very good point, Madcrafter. Very good point. I did actually, as a matter of fact, I did see some people posting about this. Okay. So would you prefer just to do away with the home field advantage in the first round, or would you prefer to carry it on longer like the FCS does based on what you saw this week?
Actually, I'm kind of cool with it. I'm kind of cool with it for the first round. I would like to still go to bowl sites for the more prestigious, the further along we get. But right. I have a solution to this whole college football.
Yeah, I've given one too. You go ahead. Let's hear yours.
Well, it's intricate. You ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Stay ready. Stay ready. You ain't got to get ready, baby.
Right. It's going to sound like the BCS.
Okay.
But
I'm here for it. Already here for it.
But different metrics used to get these numbers. Okay? But when it comes time at the end of the final playoff rankings, whoever is 1 through 12, that's your playoff team. Period. And that's how they're seeded, and that's how it's going to go. Mm-hmm. Right? The metrics are split up. There's 5 of them, and they're not all weighted the same. Okay? The first 2 are weighted 15%. Okay? First one is good wins, which is obvious. That's your ranked wins.
Yeah, ranked wins. Benefits. I like how basketball does it with quad 1, quad 2, quad 3, quad 4. So maybe even something along those lines. Go ahead. Yep, 15% there. Good wins.
Keep that in mind for the second one too. But this heavily favors the Big Ten and the SEC because usually they're power ranked a lot higher. So this category, 15%, is, it benefits the SEC a lot more. And the Big Ten, for example. All right. Second quadrant is bad losses. Now, I want to clarify what I consider a bad loss. For example, Miami going on the road and losing by 5 to Syracuse, the #1 passing offense in the nation. That's not a bad loss. However, Alabama mustering 3 points against 6-6 Oklahoma, that is a bad loss. You see what I'm saying? There's a difference in those 2 losses, and that needs to be weighted. So that's weighted 15%. That's not much. All right. So then we go to the third one. And the third one is the biggest one. It's weighted 30%. And it is offense and defensive efficiency combined. So it don't matter. For example, Miami. I hate to go back to Miami. It's making me sound like I'm
use no. You're my no. Use them. Use them. Use them.
But I really didn't. I'm just using Miami as an example. Miami had the #1 offense in the nation, but our defense was a little bit lower on that list and wasn't considered good enough. But if they were averaged, you think that one would carry a lot more weight? Or let me put it to you this way. How much weight does Patrick Mahomes carry?
Right, exactly, precisely.
Okay.
I can't argue with any of them so far. I really can't. I'll let you finish up. I've got a couple of notes. Yeah, I'm gonna let you finish up with yours, and then I'll go back to what you're talking about here.
Yeah. And then fourth one is just win percentage, just straight wins. So this is opposite of the BCS. The BCS was worried about how many losses you had. This is straight win. How many games you played and how many did you win them? Okay. Now,
that's the one thing about win percentage is when you all play 12 games, everybody's going to end up being tied at 10-2 or whatever it may be.
No. There's no auto bid for conference champions.
No, that needs to be gone.
Yeah, no. It's gone. It doesn't mean nothing. However, there's still an incentive to play for a conference championship because if you win, your winning percentage goes up.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you see what I'm saying? You get to, so basically if you make your conference championship, you're fighting for a chance for that extra win. If you don't get it, it's fine. The loss doesn't hurt you. But you're fighting for the win, and the win is great. You see what I'm saying? But the conference championship doesn't guarantee anything.
Right.
And the very last one is the smallest, 10%. And it's smallest for a reason. And that's strength of schedule. And the reason
let me ask this too real quick. Hey, Mark, I know you're listening. I know you're my statistician. Make sure his percentages adds up for me. Because I made that mistake earlier. I wasn't tracking your percentages. I was tracking my questions. So, yeah, give me your percentages real quick. It was 15, 15. What were you? Oh, yeah, I know. You got it. You ready. You stay ready.
15, 15, 30, 30, 10.
15, 50. 15, 15, 30, 30, and 10.
Yeah.
That equals 100 in my book. Good to go there. It was a joke, Mattcraft. That's an inside joke. I was doing one. Mark, he says, haha, his numbers are good. Oh, man, Mark. Thank you for being here, statistician Mark. Appreciate you, my guy. Hey, Mark will keep me straight. I promise you.
I just want to finish up real quick. Now I'll let you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
The reason why strength of schedule is weighted the smallest is to balance out. Like, let's go back to the beginning. When I said the first two, they really kind of helped the SEC and the Big Ten. That's an advantage for those two, really. Right? Because Miami, we can't choose. We can schedule at a conference, and we did. We scheduled Florida. I mean, we tried. Sorry, but outside of that, we have to deal with our conference that we have. And if they're a bad football conference that year, and we win most of our games, which is more than most of the teams that made the playoffs, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, you're right. And your numbers, they do equal 100%. And so I'll rebuttal with these few things, and then I'm going to swap it up a little bit on you. We'll go into about SEC versus ACC in a different sport right after this. So the 15% good wins, I'm good with that. I'm good with that number. The 15% bad losses, I'm also good with that number. The one question that I think I would ask there would be, I mean, even after this year, how many bad losses are there really in the SEC based on, I mean, they cannibalized themselves this year. So there's not that many bad losses. Now, if you catch an L to Mississippi State, that would be a bad loss. And then I did make a few other notes, though, too. Alabama only scoring 3 points at Oklahoma, that is a bad loss. South Carolina only scoring 3 points at home to Ole Miss, I would also quantify that as a bad loss. So you are 100% accurate on that part of it, for sure. And then I like averaging stats together. I would much rather, like you said, averaging the total defense versus the total offense. I mean, we know in the NBA, you've got to be in the top 10 in both to be able to win a championship. The same thing should apply, for the most part, to college football. You should at least be in the top 10 to 20 in both, unless you're just astronomically good at one or the other. A la, Bama or Georgia or whomever. You're just really, really good on defense or really, really good on offense. And so that makes sense. But hey, Mattcraft, let me ask you this as an ACC fan of Miami. And we all know it. SEC basketball has come on strong. And that is one thing as a Gamecock fan right now, I am superbly concerned about. I am absolutely terrified for the Gamecocks to play an SEC schedule. We almost lost to Radford the other day, had it not been for a 44-12 run in the second half. That's mind-blowing. So what are your thoughts on this basketball and how it's also now flipped over to the basketball court for SEC just to be that much better as a conference, as a whole?
Well, it's all money related. See, the bottom line is when SEC schools are getting $20 million every year in revenue, what they're doing is they're then pouring that into their other sports and facilities. And mainly they poured it into basketball. So now you're seeing it really spike up. So all of these teams are going to be great. And because they have so much money, and now the NIL and the portals here, they're just eating it up. So I mean, it's going to be a wild ride. But
and they're separating all this money. And Mark, listen, let me go back real quick too. So, and we can tie this back into the basketball conversation. So, like I just said, the South Carolina Gamecocks, they are off to a rough start early on in this season. And that was one question I did mean to ask you about your numbers and everything, Matt Crafter. Would a bad loss mean more in week 3 versus in week 12? Or how would you weight that? That was one thing that Mark asked us here.
No. This is a very important concept that I feel like a lot of people just don't seem to understand. I get playing hot or teams getting cold and then getting hot. I understand that. This isn't baseball, okay? Week 1 matters. If the first half of the season doesn't matter, why are we playing and scoring the games? Right? They all matter. So if that loss happens week 1, like Clemson, yeah, that's gonna hurt. So that would have hurt Clemson, for example, against Georgia this year.
Right. Well, I mean, even think about though too. Think about if Old Dominion would have ended up clipping our Gamecocks there at the first part of the year. I mean, we would have never even been in the conversation, I don't think, right? I mean, yeah, if we lost to Old Dominion, but somehow or another Notre Dame only had the one loss because they don't play in a conference to North. So how would you weight those differences then, Matt Kraft?
No, it would be the same thing. Notre Dame would not be in the playoffs. The fact that they lost to NIU, it would have been an immediate almost cutoff because they would have had a 0 in that quadrant. You see
Right.
what I'm saying?
See, and that's what I'm saying too. Yep, there needs to be some like quadrants. There needs to
Yeah.
be some set out. And so,
Like
hold on.
regions.
Yeah, and so before we go back, so yeah, I skipped topics too soon. You gave your idea to fix college football. Mine was 64, 36, 34. And no, I'm not Sir Mix-a-Lot. And that's only if she's 5'3". 36, 24, 36. That's the numbers that Sir Mix-a-Lot gives in his song, Baby Got Back. But to me, I would just go ahead and split this daggum thing down. I don't care if you want to break it down by attendance. I don't care if you want to break it down by revenue. I don't care if you want to break it down however you want to break it down. But the top 134 teams, and now here's the kicker though. So every one of the 64, they play like an NFL type schedule where they play alternating region opponents. All right. So you've got like Northwest, Northeast, Midwest, this, that, and the third. You can split them all up. You can make them alternate playing one another. And then to fill your schedule, you get to play one of the other 36 or the 34 teams if you want to get your wins. But it basically needs to be broken down into super conferences at this point to make all of the scheduling and to make everything as equal as it possibly can be, which is what I'm here for. That, in my opinion, is what would need to happen.
I don't disagree with you because it does need to be equalized. However, can you repeat your last sentence for me real quick?
So basically 64, 36, 34, and then they're gonna play each other though. So just the same way it is now with FCS and Division II and all that stuff, they can play those teams. But as far as those top 64 go, we're gonna put them into 16 4-team conferences. Or if you want to go even less, you can go 8-team conferences. However, those teams are all going to play on a rotating schedule one way or another, whether it be by region or whatever else. Basically, I just think this thing needs to be separated back out into regions. I mean, now we've got the freaking West Coast with Pac-12 and with the Big Ten. Same thing with the ACC. I mean, they really messed this thing up when they went away from the regions is my main objective here and what I'm thinking. But 64, 36, 34. And then they can play those other mid-level teams, two teams to get your 12-team schedule.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. That's a lot different though. That's a lot different than what I was suggesting because you're trying to get rid of conferences altogether. That'll take some time, JD.
No, I'm not really trying to get rid of them necessarily. Right. Well, they're trying to make this thing NFL light already.
Well, I know.
I mean, that's essentially, and so if it's going to be NFL light though, let's just make it NFL light. Let it just be the best record, and then they have their little tiebreakers. You know what I mean? The AFC, the NFC, the AFC West, the AFC North, the AFC East, the AFC South. There are fine and constricted areas of where these teams are and who they play every year. And then they go to battle. And so until the NCAA or Nick Saban or Pat McAfee, I don't care, any one of them, until any one of those dudes finally do something to equal out this playing field, we're always going to argue over the same nonsense over and over and over and over and over again. Could you agree with that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's yeah, but that's why you leave it up to a computer.
Right. No objectivity there.
Absolutely. But as long as you use the right metrics. I don't think everybody's got to be on board with what the right metrics are, but they have to be a balanced system that don't that the metrics can't all be across the board equal for everybody, if that makes sense, because the conference are across the board equal for everybody. So we don't really know if Clemson was to run through the ACC like they were and do it awesome, and we were all like, well, we don't really know how good they are because they're not playing anybody. Well, it turns out they were really good, but we didn't know that, right? So those are the kind of things that we can figure that out by making the right metrics and smoothing it out so that it's not necessarily, yeah, of course the ACC sucked in football this year, but there were some good teams in there, and Miami deserved to be in there. I'm gonna tell you something right now. This is my conversation I had with Rob Brown, was the fact that he said that somebody said that Indiana or Miami would have smacked Indiana, and I didn't have any agreements, any word on that or nothing. But he said, y'all lost to Syracuse. And I said, so you don't think that our offense would have performed better than their offense, Indiana's offense did? And he said, your defense would have got torched. You gave up like 40 to Syracuse. And then I posted, and this is, I don't know if you remember 2018? I think it may have been Kyler Murray. Oklahoma. They had the 60th ranked defense. God awful. They took Georgia to 2 overtimes in that bowl game. They lost, but they went to 2 overtimes in that semifinal game, playoff game.
Yep.
So why did their bad defense not matter then? You see what I'm saying? We didn't question it then. That was awesome. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. And there's so many scenarios.
What do you mean?
There's so many scenarios, just like the one you're mentioning. How would we possibly know what this team's going to do against this team because they've never played? And you never know how matchups are going to shake. Did we look up how many injuries there were in that particular game? Did we look up how many opt-outs there were in that game? Until they figure out a way to balance this thing out, and then I've said it before, the NCAA is just flat asleep at the wheel, in my opinion.
Opt-outs in what game?
Well, no, I'm just talking about in general. I'm not mentioning that, but I'm saying, but you can't ever balance these games the same way because you don't know. Yes, like Miami. Yes, Miami lost to Syracuse, like we were talking about. Who's to say that Syracuse's #1 pass offense didn't just really match up well against Miami that particular day? Like, at the end of the day, just because Syracuse beat Miami doesn't mean that Miami couldn't go beat Notre Dame, Indiana, Tennessee, or any of these other teams that were in the playoffs, is what I'm saying.
Now, wait a minute. That's not entirely true. Miami. Hold on a second. I got some notes for you. Keep talking. I'll be right back.
Oh, yeah, you good. All right. So Matt Crafter, he's got some notes for us. He's going to dig up some Miami notes for us. While we are waiting on him, y'all, Merry Christmas to you, Pensman. Thank you for being here, brother. Also, another personality that we brought to the show here recently. Thank you so much to Pensman. Thank you to everyone who listens. Hey, I hope that Josh Jacobs isn't doing very well in fantasy football right now, because if he is, then that means I lose, like I told y'all earlier. I do, however, hope that Spencer Rattler is killing the game currently. Also, transfer portal notes. We've got Air Nolan potentially committing to the South Carolina Gamecocks. Holy smokes. I don't even know what to do with this news other than to think that we need to switch over to Nike. If we got somebody come to South Carolina and his name is Aaron Nolan, then we've got to swap to Nike from Under Armour. Period. End of discussions. He's only committed. Y'all know that's a dirty C word here on Southern Fried Sports. We got Mad Crafter back. Mad Crafter, what kind of notes you got cooked up over there, bro? Let's get them.
Hey, I was just gonna say that. First off, you said who's to say Syracuse's passing offense is number one. Number one in the country.
Yeah, right.
So it didn't matter that they matched up well against Miami. It's that they were number one in the nation in passing off. Right.
Right.
The fact that they matched up well with us and we only lost by 5 against a 9-3 team tells me that we are much more competitive and play more competitive football than some of these other teams that were in the playoffs. Okay? Miami, I understand defense was suspect. I will never disregard that. But there is, without a doubt, point to any game this season without, well, I mean, Virginia Tech was a little wonky, but point to any game this season and Miami was never out of the game.
No, absolutely, dude. No, I think you might have took some of what I was saying the wrong way. No, I wasn't hating on my. That's exactly. I was proving your point.
You better not.
I was proving your point. Like I was literally saying, yeah. I mean, that Syracuse loss that Miami took wasn't that bad. Yes, it pushed them out of the ACC championship, but at the end of the day, you had mentioned Oklahoma and Georgia and what they were able to do to them. And so that's what I was talking about with the matchups and all that stuff. Like, yes, and that's again to we'll tie all of this college football playoff stuff in a nice little Christmas bow for everybody here on Southern Fried Sports. That's me tying a bow. All right. So a nice little bow on all of the college football playoff talk. Everybody wanted to argue about the freaking Bama Crimson Tide and the freaking Ole Miss Rebels being the teams that were left out. No. It was the Gamecocks that should have been argued for that last spot over SMU and Miami or whomever else. It should have been SMU, Miami, and the Gamecocks that were argued for that once you get rid of all the auto bids and stuff. We'll be able to fix that later. But yeah, to Madcraft's point, man, you never know what's going to happen with matchups. You never know what's going to happen. Sometimes teams just... How many teams have beat someone with a triple option before? You know what I mean? Sometimes you just can't defend the triple option. If they're just hitting on that day, you can't beat them.
You want to hear a fun fact?
Give me one.
3 teams this college football season have ran the ball more than 48 times in a game. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
2 of them run the triple option. The other one was Texas last night. Or the other. That's how many times they ran the ball on Clemson, bro.
Hey, Mad Crafter, he came to cook some Tigers tonight, y'all. I don't know if y'all felt that or not. Hey, Clemson Tiger fans, I know. Hey, remember, I love you. I love you. We'll get Southern fried all the time, but cooking Tiger is against the law. And so, Mad Craft, listen, I hit some random notes throughout. All right, we're going to wrap this thing down, though, real quick. All right, Mad Craft. Here is our last question for the evening. Are you ready? I don't know if you're ready or not. I need you to give me your best or worst, or both. You can give me both. Give me your best sports moment of the year and your worst sports moment of the year right now.
Oh,
And if
best.
you need me to go first, I can go first because I got a couple. All right,
Yeah.
so
Okay. Why don't you
yeah,
go first? Let me think
okay,
about it.
yeah, all right, yeah. You think on it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's our big question. All right, we're gonna send y'all off to your Christmas, your New Year's, everything in between here on Southern Fried Sports. So, this evening, our final question is going to be: what is your best and your worst moments of 2024? And of course, my number one worst moment of 2024 goes to Ingrid Andress singing the Home Run Derby national anthem. And I promise you, I'm not going to sing it for you right now, but I could do a better job than Ingrid did. Of course, it's nothing to make light of. She did enter herself into an alcohol rehabilitation center after the fact. But if you go back and listen to the way she sang the national anthem at the Home Run Derby, the only person that's ever murdered it worse was Fergie at the NBA All-Star game not very long ago. And then for my best moment of the year to lighten things up, DeMar Hamlin coming back, playing a game, also forcing a fumble, I believe it was, on Mahomes, if I'm not mistaken. And then, of course, the Gamecock homer in me. The Gamecocks banking shot to beat Tennessee and the national championship. And then, of course, the Rocket Sanders run and the Lenora Sellers run against Mizzou and Clemson, respectively. So that gave Matt Crafter a minute to get himself in check. Matt Crafter, best and worst moments of 2024.
Now, is this personal for me?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go with. I mean, without a doubt, it's got to be putting the Gators down in the swamp. I know that.
Really?
I know that you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I'm down. No, I'm down with that. That's a good pick. I'm down
Well,
with that, man. Hey, I ain't gonna. No.
hey, and
Listen,
it was.
you don't get
And
my tone a lot of time through text, man. I'm here with you, bro.
and here's the thing about that is you're a big person about talking about week one. You got to think about this too. It's week one for Miami. You know what I'm saying? Both teams are in week one, so
Yep. And
one
then
team.
what Florida
Look,
went on to do throughout the year and look as good as they did throughout the year. Yep, you've got to credit Miami for getting that Florida win week one. Yeah, absolutely, bro. I ain't gonna argue with you.
but by my metrics, that wouldn't be technically that good of a win. It would be somewhat a good of a win, but it wouldn't be that high on the scale because Florida's not ranked very highly.
Preseason ranking. There should not be any preseason rankings.
No, that in my system there wouldn't be.
No. You don't get ranked until you play 4 or 5 games. Period. That's
Worst moment, the Australian breakdancer at the Olympics.
I forgot about her. She retired. She was so embarrassed she retired.
No, she got kicked out. She got kicked out by her own dance community. The dance community said, "No, you can't dance no more." I'm not even kidding. That's what happened.
I just can't imagine. Hey, can you imagine if either one of us walked up in like a bar or a club and we just dance and they were like, "No, you just can't dance anymore."
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Just pulling your dance card, brother.
Yeah. Do you have a D card? I'm here to take it. Oh my goodness gracious. We are so off. Did you have any other best or worst moments? Did you not? Give me a couple more. I want more. I want more, Mad Crafter. Give me more.
Man.
How about the Braves not doing anything in free agency? How about that? What are they doing? What are the Braves doing? Are we just gonna steal everybody from the Athletics again?
Yeah, probably. We already did one.
Twice, 3 times. All right. No, and okay, so here. Yeah, all right.
But anyways.
That's good stuff, Mad Crab. Man, that's good stuff. All right, so here, I'll tell you what, we're about to get out. We're gonna do one more real quick. I got one more question for you. and I know it's because show everybody what you're wearing right now on that head of yours. I see that bolt, that charger. No, yeah, it's right behind you there too. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, are the Los Angeles Chargers. That is so hard to say. God, I keep wanting to call them San Diego so bad.
You say LA.
Are the Chargers pretenders or contenders for the Super Bowl? Tell me the truth.
Are you talking to me?
Anybody? Comment. We got Chuck over here. He's talking about something else. We got the Southern Buckeye. But yeah, I'm talking to you, Minecraft. Are they pretenders or contenders? Like legit, your honest opinion. You got to be honest here.
I've been on the radio multiple times saying, hey, dark horse, Super Bowl year 1. Hey, who's got it better than us?
Nobody. Hey man, as soon as they hired Harbaugh, and I knew that he had the highest win percentage of coaches in the NFL, the minute he was hired back, I knew that the Chargers were going to be a force to be reckoned with. And it's only year 1. So yeah. It won't be long. I mean, hey, you got the Rams though. They won yesterday. They're looking good. The Panthers eliminated the Cardinals. Shout out to my Panthers. Madcrafter, man. Hey, thank you for being here, brother. Go ahead. Say something else.
No, that was a great game, man. Now, I'm going to slide out on you. I'm going to say Merry Christmas to everybody,
Absolutely. Hey, Merry Christmas to you, my good sir. Thank you so much for joining me, man. Hey, share this thing out, man. You send out your thoughts, bro. I'm telling you, you got good sports takes. I wouldn't be talking to you if that wasn't the case. I'm just a generic little fool on GreenvilleSportsMedia.com. Hey, man. I just started this thing on a whim, but I appreciate you coming and joining me, man, for real. Merry Christmas. You be blessed. And it's so good to see your face again. I can't see your face when I text you. I get to see your face when we do this, brother.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's been a long time. Long time no see, brother.
Hey, that's right. Hey, the first time me and you got together, we sparked a 100,000 view tweet on Mark Ryan's airwaves of Twitter. So, man, listen, for real. It's a pleasure having you here. Yeah, it was at that barbecue. Remember the Steve Spurrier? If it weren't for Steve Spurrier, Clemson wouldn't be what they were.
Gilligan was in on that too.
Yeah, me, you, Gilligan. Yeah, I hadn't heard. Yeah, I got Gilligan's number. I hadn't heard from him in a minute, man. But hey, listen, y'all have an outlet right here anytime you want it. All right, for real. Greenville Sports Media. Southern Fried Sports. All you gotta do, if you got something you want to share out, you let me know. You always got a seat warm. All right, my friend.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, buddy.
Hey man, y'all,
blessed holidays.
Happy holidays to you, Madcrafter. Y'all, ladies and gentlemen, what a fun show. We went a little longer than we wanted to, but of course, we've got Gamecock Chuck over here. His favorite moment of the year was the women's basketball perfect season national championship, beating Clemson and them getting in the playoffs, and not us. That was worse. Yeah, it was terrible. I'll never understand. Southern Buckeye, his worst moment of the year was Ohio State losing to Michigan again. The Mets getting better, just disgusting. Again, guys, thank you all so much for being here, though. For Hyundai of Anderson, GreenvilleSportsMedia.com, Ardensburger and Grill, for the Southern Fried Gentleman of Southern Fried Sports. I love my kids. I love Trip. I love Paxton. I love my mother, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my wife. I love you all. Y'all have a beautiful holiday. We will see y'all again very soon. No telling when. I'll make sure to let you know. But until then, y'all be blessed, not stressed, and just be kind to one another. Dang it.